Hi, I'm Shane Malach from I Am Impact, and this is an SEO Q&A video. So I got the following question from Terry, and I'm paraphrasing the question a little bit, but it goes something like this. Suppose I created a website on the topic of children's shoes. So here you'd have this website, and presumably there'd be sub-pages on that website. And I managed to get that site ranked, get some traffic to it, and I acquire PageRank for this website. And encouraged by the success with the children's shoes website, I go ahead and create another website for women's shoes, and then another one for men's shoes, and it still works. I get those ranked as well, I get traffic to them and so on. And now I'm thinking, well, you know what, I'd like to do something different since this is working so well. What I want to do is, instead of having these smaller niche sites, I want to build one big authority site on the topic of shoes and have sub pages on that site for the different categories. So I guess you'd have like a subcategory children's shoes, a subcategory women's shoes, a subcategory men's shoes, and of course these would then also have more sub pages that I didn't draw here. So obviously you'd have the content of these smaller sites, you'd have them all in subcategories and sub pages on this larger site. Then on in the question. So he says, I realize that I can move the content from the smaller sites to the more comprehensive site, duplicate content issues aside. However, can I transfer PageRank from the minor sites to the new expanded site? Is there a solution? So in essence, the question is, can I transfer PageRank, rankings, authority, etc. from the smaller sites to the new big site? Because obviously you don't want to lose all the hard work you put into those smaller sites and getting them ranked and getting that traffic and so on. You'd like to continue from where you left off, so to speak, with the larger site. Now, so that's essentially the question. Now here's the deal. Let me just take that a step back, and let's say you simply move a site from one location to the next. If you just take a site and you clone that site, you make it the exact same site on a new domain, and you just move that, then it's fairly easy to do, especially if the file names are exactly the same, right? Which would be the case with a clone. You'd have the exact same subcategories, exact same file names, and so on the new site. So this would be a rebranding, which is, by the way, something incidentally I've just did last week with one of my own sites. Anyway, this is fairly easy to do. What you do is you do a 301 redirect for all of the files on the old site, so that all of those files redirect permanently. That's 301, is a permanent redirect to the new location. And on top of that, you go to Google Webmaster Tools and you enter, there's an option in the configuration called change of address, where you can kind of officially say, okay, I've moved site from location A to location B, and the result of this should be that all of your effort carries over to the new site. So you should get your PageRank, the backlinks as well. Matt Cutts has some video somewhere where he says that backlinks carry over through a 301 redirect. So all the backlinks you built for the old site will then start counting for the new site. So that's definitely possible. Now, of course, the same thing would be possible for a site, for multiple sites. Now, ideally, this would work if you had, let me just get another pen again. What you need to have is, you need to have 301 redirects from each of these sites. You need to abandon the sites you already have, obviously, right? I think that makes sense, I guess. So you'd have to have 301 redirects for these sites. The problem would happen with the sub pages, because you can probably not, on the last slide, on this one, right, the file names have to be exactly the same. If we look at this, for this to work as a clean and simple solution, the file names have to be identical. All right. So if you have 3 sites and you're carrying them over to one site, having identical file names is probably going to be difficult, because you'd have a different structure on this website than you had on the small ones. Now, this can still be done. You can still make these appropriate redirects for each one of the sub pages. This is still possible, right? So you can make sure that this children's shoes sub page redirects to the proper sub page on the new site. Okay, And as far as I know, although I haven't tried this myself, I've never done anything like this myself, but I guess you could also do a change of address for several websites and change all of the addresses to the new one. So you could go to the webmaster tool, say this address changes to this one, this address changes to this one, and so on, right? Again, that should be possible. So yeah, in general, it should be possible to set this thing up so that all of the links you're getting to these pages, all of the page rank you got here, all of the rankings and so on would carry over and go to the new larger site. This should be possible. However, it's probably going to be messy. You know, it's not going to be pretty. Setting that up, making sure that all of the pages on the smaller sites redirect to the proper page on the new site and so on, that is not going to be, I wouldn't want to do that. It's not going to be a pleasant job to do that. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Now here's some more on this, purely from a marketing perspective, not talking about SEO here, just from a marketing perspective. Specialized is always better than general. So I'm aware that these are only examples. The shoes and men's shoes and women's shoes and so on are only examples, but in any case, you don't want to be just the general shoe shop. That is something that's very, very difficult to pull off from a marketing perspective. It's much easier to be specialized in, I don't know, classy women's shoes or affordable children's shoes, stuff like that. This is not just something where you go, keywords like that are easier to rank for. It's much easier to market to a very, very specific crowd. So you might want to, before you do a consolidation like that, you might want to think, well, is this really a smart move? Do I really want to generalize here? On the other hand, the only thing that's really standing in the way of doing something like that are long tail exact match domain names. If you have websites and you bought a exact match domain name for a very, very specific keyword, then obviously that's not really going to work if you try to expand the website beyond that very specific thing that's in the domain name. And the only place, exact match domain names, in my opinion, are highly overrated, because yes, it's nice to have the ranking boost from an exact match domain name, but you know what? It's also nice to have a large growing website with lots of relevant content and age and authority and interlinking and backlinks and so on. Having a content-rich website that grows and that ages is, in my experience, much more of a ranking, much more of a help with ranking new content and old content than it is to have just an exact match domain name, because the exact match domain name only helps you for one single keyword. So here's my suggestion: is as soon as you move away from the microsite concept, as soon as you look at a niche and you maybe you've built a microsite there and you think, well, maybe I could expand, maybe I could tap into a larger market, forget about the exact match domain name, go for a brand name, one that will help you with your marketing efforts, and rely on all the other SEO factors to get your site ranked. Rely on backlinks, on-page SEO, all that stuff. That works brilliantly. You don't need an exact match domain name to rank a site. So that would be my suggestion. So you don't have to consolidate a dozen different mini sites into one larger one. As soon as you move away from the microsite concept, as soon as you want to go a little broader and make a page that will a site that will have maybe 12 pages or anything above that, consider going with a brand name and relying on other SEO factors than the exact match. All right, that's this first SEO Q&A video. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.